If I've learned anything in life, it's that if you do not deal with your trauma will sure enough deal with you. It will have you in a chokehold. If you do not deal with those aspects of yourself that you are hiding from, those repressed memories, those negative emotions that are looking to surface, make their way up and to communicate to you that there's something that is urgent and it needs to be dealt with. If you don't do that necessary work, the shadow work, if you don't go deep into them trenches, I promise you, there is going to be a solution in this world for you. And that solution will lead you either to an early grave or at least a life experience, at the very best, a life experience that is subpar, unfulfilled, and most times miserable, depressive, lonely. It's a God honest truth. If you don't deal with it, it's going to deal with you. And unfortunately, this is the case when it comes to a young woman by the name of Ellen Page. I know her best from Juno back in the day, as well as one of my favorite movies, Inception, right? When she was still at least put together enough, still mentally enough there to not completely go overboard and to destroy her life in real time. Now, I'm going to go ahead and let her speak for herself as far as what's been going on in her life. And I'm not even looking to be disrespectful to not address, Ellen as other than female, because I can't be given over to a delusion. I'm not willing to. The last time we did that, we got to a place where they're now taking our kids and forcing this upon them and stripping children away from their parents. So I'm not going to affirm it. I'm not going to pretend as if it is something that it's not, which is reality. So I'm going to go ahead and address Ellen by the name that her mama gave her and the essential gender that God gave her. It's really as simple as that. Not even trying to get religious on y'all. That's just what's happening here, the God honest truth. But again, there's this viral clip that it keeps circulating and it keeps calling my name. So let's get into it because I really do have something to say about it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's see.
Goodness, what has brought me the most joy? The most joy. It's getting out of the shower and the towel's around your waist and you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're just like, there I am. I'm not having all these little moments that used to be just being in a t-shirt. It's being able to touch my chest and feel comfortable in my body for probably the first time.
Folks, that right there does not look like somebody who is comfortable in their own body. That looks like somebody who is in a deep state of what this sister right here is labeled as regret. That's what that looks like to me. This looks like regret. This looks like I thought I had a solution for those problems that I thought I knew the answer to. I thought I knew what the real problem was. Because what they're selling us now is not that you feel insecure because, maybe you lack a sense of self-worth. You don't actually see your true value, your intrinsic value. And maybe that's based upon your own childhood experiences. No, what they're selling nowadays is you're in the wrong body. If you just change your orientation, your problems are going to be solved. You are fixed. You are whole again. And as much as I hate to say it, folks, everybody who has been complicit in allowing for this to perpetuate has been complicit in creating greater levels of trauma than I think we've experienced thus far. I was just talking to my girl last night and I said it's incredible because we went from a place of where, most of us have insecurities and then hopefully we kind of learn to not only just cope, but to heal from those insecurities, to know that we are valuable and worthy beyond our physical makeup, etc. Right? You go past those teen years of feeling awkward and outside of yourself, and you wish you were in something else. You're comparing yourself constantly, etc. We've gone from that to the complete other extreme. And that other extreme is to say, I'm not even in the right body. My creator didn't even get it right. I have to change what I am at a physiological level in order for me to be something better, something else, something other than. And what we're seeing here is the real life after effects, the aftermath. I don't think this is going to be one of those situations where we need, 50 years to see the ramifications. I don't think it's going to be one of those. I think it's going to be a situation where we see the ramifications frequently, often, and it's only going to intensify as far as the aftermath of what we have allowed our children to be exposed to go through, and what many adults have chosen as their answer to their deepest yearning questions. So I'm going to go ahead and play this out one more time.
Goodness, what has brought me the most joy? The most joy. It's getting out of the shower and the towels around your waist.
This sounds like an answer that she wanted it to be. This sounds like the answer that she practiced over and over, and then you're going to see the breakdown in that physiology, the breakdown in the body language of what's actually going on.
And you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're just like, there I am. I'm not having all these little moments that used to be.
That's disingenuous. The moments that used to
I'm not having all these little moments that used to be just being in a t-shirt.
She cut her breasts off, which is somebody that somebody who was very close to me for a period of my life, went through a very severe form of cancer, and I was there along the sort of first year in some of their journey. And, to see a young woman who had to make a decision of whether or not they were going to get rid of that aspect of their womanhood was a devastating thing. Now, just imagine a machine, a process per se, that does exactly that, not because of a life-threatening illness, but instead because of an ideological stance. Because they're individuals who are so given over to their own ideas, their perceptions, this woke ideology, the mind virus, as Sis here says, the woke mind virus, so given over to it that it infects you so completely and so absolutely that you find yourself in likely unreversible circumstances. You will be able to get your life back. You'll be able to get yourself off of those, pills and things of that nature. But something fundamentally has shifted, and that's now a deeper trauma. That's why I say that it's going to take significantly more work to now work through that. How do I know? I've watched, read, seen enough stories of the detransitioners to know how severe and serious this thing actually is. This used to be a subject I used to skate around and not really want to get into because I didn't want to offend. And, a lot of these messages were being suppressed, but I said, nah, enough is enough. I can't do that. I can't stand in good conscience knowing that these things are happening and they continue to persist. And I'm just going to sit back and try to be comfortable and, hopefully not ruffle anybody's feathers because I want to feel as if I'm not ostracized. I'm not. But I said, you know what? I don't give a damn. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. You can aim arrows at me all day. Nothing will hit, but I'm going to tell the truth. This right here is somebody who has lost a piece of themselves. They were already lost, but now they've literally lost a piece of themselves. Now, my assumption is somebody like Ellen Page, I believe it is. My assumption is that she was somebody who did not feel secure in her young body, right? She's a very small, very petite little woman. I remember from Juno, she might have had the same kind of body type as a little girl where, I mean, let me look it up right now. I don't even know how old she is at this point, let alone how old she was when they were filming that movie. Age 38. Wow. Talk about, so she was about 20 during Juno, but during that movie, she looked to be about 15, 14, well, like 15 years old, but she was 20 years old. So she's always had a very, very youthful appearance, which is actually, it's a blessing. It's a gift, it's a gift. But my assumption is that she was uncomfortable in that body. Maybe she had tomboy tendencies. Back in the day, we just called it a tomboy. You didn't have to change your entire makeup in order to, to fulfill this idea. But my assumption is that she was extremely uncomfortable. She's not growing the same, chestedness as maybe some of the girls. Maybe some of the curves and things of that nature aren't coming. But guess what? We're all made different. All of us have different body shapes, sizes, etc. And so it was necessary for the adults in her life to say that you are enough. And you are actually beautifully, fearfully, wonderfully made. You are magnificent. You are made intentionally on purpose. You are made exactly how you're supposed to be. There is nothing wrong with you. This is who you are. And you learn to embrace and love that individual right there. That's going to change the game for you. But instead, they failed the little girl and she became a young woman who then perpetuated that very same or that very insecurity that she had harbored throughout her young life. Again, these are my assumptions of how we got to this place based off of the stories that I hear from a multitude of others who share the very same type of stories, only now detransitioning. So, yeah, I'm going to let this continue to play through.
It's being able to touch my chest and feel comfortable in my body for probably the first time.
This looks like the type of individual they need to put on they need to put on alert about. Things have gotten severe for this young woman. They need to put some sort of alert. Like, this looks like somebody who is deeply troubled. And I pray that nothing happens. I pray that there is, a complete shift in the consciousness, that there is self-love that is developed. But damn. Let's see what we got in the comments. Mutilating their bodies is not going to fix their depression and mental illness. Sad. This is why we should never mutilate children. Yeah, it's true. Or give them hormones and puberty blockers. Yep. She says tears of joy. She doesn't look happy. It's true. It's true. Something like that. Too emotional. Definitely still a woman. There is no such thing as the woke mind virus. Aside from that, being woke means being aware. No, being woke and awake are not two of the same thing. Being awake is completely in contrast to woke. Woke is an ideology. Woke is it's an image of what it is to be awake. But really, you're actually signed up to a different form of propaganda. She's sad AF. Yeah, she was blessed with a natural beauty. Yeah, with the youthfulness. Very sad. R.I.P. Ellen. Yeah, life was so simple yet. Well, again, everybody's going through what they're going through. She's supposed to be a man. Such a female emotional reaction. That's T stuff. Didn't work out for her, no matter the body part. She has surgically revised. Or is that revised? Or yeah. Tell me how depressed you are without telling me. Yeah, talk about it. That is not a happy person. She needs help ASAP. Why isn't she on testosterone? Her voice sounds the exact same. Not gonna read that. Some folks just be. This ain't even one of them stories where I'm like, okay, we poke fun, we laugh. Like, it's not. This is the reality, folks. This is, again, it's the aftermath. This is why when I talk about these things, I don't want the next child to become this. I don't want the next adult. I don't want anybody to have to give themselves a sedative. I don't want anybody to end up on the dope, end up in them streets, end up, hooking up and creating greater levels of trauma for yourself when what you're truly seeking is healing. I don't wish that for anybody. And so this hopefully is a preventative thing, as well as maybe somebody is already in that place and they're just needing a voice to be like, hey, that's not the way. That's not the direction. That's not where we're looking to go. That's not your solution. The solution is an internal one. Ironically enough, all these external solutions has become so externally focused that now it's like, let me change my whole physical makeup and what I see in the mirror, as opposed to changing the disposition of my heart. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace.
I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. I know the time is taking. A 365, that's a full rotation. I see you looking up, you know them constellations. Constantly gazing like house of praises, you get to praising.